Today's episode, we are going to be going deep on the purpose of life. And we're not going to go into the kind of the esoteric purpose of life, but rather more of a practical approach. And we're going to do this by breaking down some of the core theses of Sahil Bloom's book, The 5 Types of Wealth, which I think is a must read for people in 2026 and beyond. It gives you a great framework of how to understand wealth in 5 different domains, being time, wealth, social wealth, mental wealth, physical wealth, and financial wealth. I've read this book a couple of times and I've kind of drawn some of my main conclusions from this and collated as much of the notes as I possibly could, hopefully in some kind of systematic format. Otherwise, it's going to be a royal clusterfuck. But hey, we're going to be here for a good time, not a long time. This episode will be a concise one, as it's going to be far more beneficial for you to be able to go and read the book and then understand some of the concepts we're going to talk about today. So without further ado, we're going to start with time wealth. The argument here is that you are a time billionaire. You have arguably the most precious resource that we have, which is time. It's the thing that we can't get more of. We can get more from our time, however, and that's what we call leverage, essentially. How do we leverage our time to get more? And really, Sahil goes into a few different concepts. I think that there's this important 3-stage model. First and foremost, awareness of where your time is being spent. A really easy way to be able to do this is to look at your calendar, look where you're allocating your time, and generally where you're allocating most of your time, that is to the priority or what you deem the priority in this moment in your life. Oftentimes, I think when people do this, they will be very surprised about where most of their time is actually going. They may have a specific goal, an outcome that they want, and they may be working kind of hard to get there. But just by doing a quick little time audit, understanding where am I actually spending my time, can really open up your eyes. So first is awareness, then is attention. It's like I've taken the awareness of understanding what am I now doing. I have taken the attention of what do I do with this particular time? Where do I draw my attention? Where do I allocate my attention? Where am I putting my attention? And then comes control. Now you have awareness over where you're allocating your time. You understand that that time can be better allocated into different areas. And like, cool, I know that 60% of it's going to my work or my school, 30% is going to family, 10% is going to my overall health and wellness. Is that the right split? Is that where I need to be putting this in order to achieve the thing that I want to achieve? And then really understand that you have control over that. Attention is this kind of idea that it's concentrated focus. It is for this moment in time, I need to focus on this one task. And Sal gives a great analogy of Lionel Messi, arguably alongside Ronaldo, the greatest footballer to have ever have played the game. And if you watch Messi play, and I noticed this recently with Haaland in the World Cup, who again is also one of the greatest players ever to grace the game as a striker. It doesn't look like they're doing much. They're walking around, they're kind of seeing the game, they're analyzing. But when it's their time, they go. And once they go, they are almost unstoppable. It is why they are able to be who they are. They conserve energy, and then when it's time to let loose, they fucking let loose and absolutely destroy people. Lionel Messi, even now in the World Cup, he's 39 years old and he's still tearing people apart, which is absolutely ridiculous. So this core message really is understanding that you've got time. You are a time billionaire. That more money doesn't equal a better quality of life. Where you allocate your time does. If you are rich but miserable, you are still miserable. If you are working a lot and miserable, you are still miserable. What you then need to do is, am I spending too much time doing the wrong? Next, social wealth. Social wealth essentially is anchored in the Harvard study of adult development. It is an 80+ year longitudinal study that shows that relationship quality outpredicts income or fame for later life health and wellness and happiness. Relationships compound like investments. And arguably, the greatest return you can in any portfolio, the time that you spend, the social capital that you spend in putting into the people that bring you joy, that bring you love, laughter, happiness, positivity, all that good stuff, is going to compound massively over the course of your life. It's not money. Once you have enough, you have enough. Once you have enough, adding more to that pot only incrementally can improve the quality of your life. But there is a law of diminishing return when it comes to finances, because at some point you have whatever you need to do, whatever you want, and this is going to be very independent. It's going to be very dependent of the individual. More is not better, but in social wealth it can be. It is the more time you spend with your kids growing up. It is the more time that you spend with your parents who are getting older. There's a beautiful diagram that he shows, and it essentially is the amount of time that you get with your parents as they are getting older, and the time drastically decreases. So if you start as when you're a baby, you spend 100% of your time with them, and then by the time you're sort of 16, 18, depending on where you are in the world. And I say that because social dynamics are very different depending on where you are in the world. You're allowed to do certain things at certain ages, depending on when you are in the world, in terms of legalities, drinking, going out, moving out of home, all that sort of stuff. You start to progressively spend less and less and less time with them. I mean, think back right now. How often do you see your parents and loved ones? Is it every week, every month, once a year? Let's say it's once a year. There's many people that spend just once a year with their siblings catching up around the holidays. How many years do they have left? How many years do your parents have left? Your grandparents have left? And is that worth not seeing them long enough? So it's a really interesting frame. If you've got children, how much time are you spending with them as kids? Because they only are little for such a short amount of time. And then once they start to do sports, get little friendship groups, they go off and start to do their own little thing. You get less and less time with them. And I think as a father of two, I want to spend every waking minute with them as much as I possibly can, knowing that at some point it's like they're going to want to go doing their own thing. They're going to want to go and hang out with their own friends. They're going to want to go and enjoy their own life. So social wealth, taking a look at where you are putting your time and energy and who. Essentially, I think this breaks down to spend more time with people that you like and less time with people that you don't. Mental wealth. This is an interesting one. The thesis kind of is that purpose and growth require deliberately building space to sit with life's unanswerable questions. Through things like solitude, boredom, it could be meditation, whatever ritual works. The mechanism really is noticing these unremarked moments don't often get internalized, and noticing itself what improves mental state. Your mental state or your psychological state is one of the most important ones, I think, because it's what determines everything else. It is, where is my framework right now? What am I thinking through? How am I problem solving? If something comes into my life that I need to figure out, am I confident in doing that? Do I have a systematic way to be able to overcome this? Am I making relatively smart decisions for the most part? Not always. Some people, I mean, we're humans, we're going to make dumb shit happen often. But how can I mitigate that? Mental wealth. And really, if you look at many of the greatest kind of thinkers and philosophers of our time, people like Marcus Aurelius, Benjamin Franklin, Gandhi, Rumi, Buddha, these people spent a lot of time in solitude. Not that you have to go to that extent, but they spent a lot of time alone, being bored. Right now, we're in this never-ending world of just stimulus. We want to be constantly stimulated. If we're not, we feel uneasy. We feel uncomfortable. But that's where the answer's lie. I literally was on a walk just before this podcast. I went for a walk. I put my hood up me to close out the world. And I just think through things. Sometimes I talk as well, as if I'm talking to myself. And I'm cool with that. And if you're uncomfortable with that, what you can do is a little trick, just put your headphones in. You don't have to be listening to anything, but it just allows peace and quiet. And if you just go for a walk and you're allowing yourself thoughts to come and go, and once you kind of find this area of this, it just seems like a bit of a blankness in your mind. You're not really thinking about anything. Perfect. It's a great space to be able to be. Sit with that. And it's a great spot or a moment to be able to ask questions. Be able to ask questions that you need answers to. Those moments or those answers only really occur in the moments of boredom. It's like the old saying is that the best answers come when you're on the toilet or in the shower, when you're not on your phone, when you're not reading, you're not thinking about anything. You're just in the moment, you're bathing yourself, And all of a sudden it's like, holy shit, where did that idea come from? I need to write that down, or I need to do something about that. So mental wealth really is being able to create an environment where you can find peace, where you can just think. So meditation works really well for a lot of people. It's the finding peace. And that's the whole idea behind it. Physical wealth. Physical wealth is kind of two things. It is, how do I amplify my current state, being bigger, stronger, leaner, faster, my current resilience? How do I build resilience, mental capacity, mental fortitude by doing something? Then also prevent breakdown, prevent decay, prevent what my life is going to be like in 5 years if I don't train and push my physique. This is not to say you have to do anything crazy like perform in a competition or do a bodybuilding show or whatever you're into. It just means that how do I get at least a strong enough foundation so that B, that I can live a better quality of life. If you're just full of disease, and that's in the word dis-ease, it is the uncomfortable, it is the body breaking down, it is unable to fight off certain bacteria, viruses, etc. But how do I prepare myself for a moment in time that I can have a strong body and know when the time calls for it, I can do something with it. And that could be something as simple as, sorry, I've got some crazy dry mouth. I haven't eaten yet today. I'm like an alien of water. That could be something as simple as, hey, we're going to move house. Cool, let's go. Let's pick some stuff up. Let's move some things. Which sounds crazy and silly and simple. But when you have the inability to do that, then you realize, oh shit, like this is actually quite a blessing here. It is the, hey, if we are broken down in the middle of a big drive across country, if you're going to drive across the middle of Australia, for example, you break down, can I sort the tire out? Can I lift this? Can I fend for my family if I'm attacked by dingoes? Again, as crazy as it sounds, it does fucking happen. Or kangaroos. Can I do something about this? Can I defend my family? If an invader comes into the house, can I defend them and do something with this body, with this vessel, with this physicality? So what you've got to do really is I think that you're constantly on a downhill slide. A great question that he poses is, will you be dancing at your own 80th birthday? It is a good reframe to have and think, can I still be able later in life to be able to take care of my family and myself? And lastly, financial wealth. This is deliberately placed last in the book, despite the one that people care about the most. Money is an enabler of the other four. It is not a category to maximize independently. The goal is defining what is enough. What do you need to be able to live the life that you want? What do you need to be able to live on your own terms? Some people, it's having there is a study that supports this, and I think it's about $77,000 that people kind of don't need any more than that to be able to change the quality of their life. So if you use that, is it $77,000? Is it $100,000? Is it 150? Is it $1 million? What is it? What do you need to be able to feel that this is enough? I don't need to now keep putting more time into driving up more and more and more money. I need to allocate some of that time to the other areas of life. So what you've got to be able to do, especially from a financial perspective, is define what Ramit Sethi has this in his book. And he uses a concept called, what is your rich life? What does that look like? Ramit he's a multi-millionaire. He's got fucking loads of money. He's really, really smart with money. I think he's a accountant, a financial advisor, whatever he is. Super smart guy. And he still drives around like this beautiful car. He still lives in certain aspects very, very frugally. But what he says is, when you're defining your rich life, choose where you're going to allocate the capital of your enjoyment. Meaning that there's going to be areas where you're going to be a bit more frugal, but there's areas where you really splash out. Like, he's a big fan of experiences and travel. So he puts a lot of his capital into that. But all the other areas, he's like, well, I don't really need a lot of this other stuff. So I'm going to spend a little less here so I can spend a little bit more in other areas. So I think that's a really interesting way to be able to think about this, is firstly sit down and just write this out. But what does this look like? What does a rich life look like to me? Going on holiday once a year, twice a year? Is it going one domestic holiday? Is it going to one international holiday? Is it just one a year? Is it spending time being able to work and do the job so that I can coach my son's little league team, whatever it might be for you as an individual. So I think it's a good idea to be able to use this exercise is put on some good music, or a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, and just write this down. Like, what does this look like, a rich life? Let me define this. And then reverse engineer, go, well, what do I need to be able to make this happen? How much money do I actually need? Great, we've got that. Let's find a job, or let's find a way to be able to do that. And that could be a combination of decreasing overheads and expenses, allocating them in different areas, and then also looking how to maximize income. How do I maximize how much I'm earning that's going to hit that target consistently and comfortably? Just by doing that, it allows you to be able to put more time and effort into your physicality, make sure you're taking care of yourself, your mental health and well-being, your social well, spending time with the people that you love, and understanding that you have complete control of your time. I hope that you enjoyed. I would highly recommend going to check out Sahil Bloom's book, The 5 Types of Wealth. If any of you know him, please give me an introduction. I'd love to say thank you to him personally and get him on the show as well. Let's go deeper on this stuff. Share this with a friend. Share this with someone that you think could do with learning, hearing it. That could do with just hearing this message today because they're struggling at some point. And don't forget, to as Sahil Bloom says, stay curious, friends.